Hi everyone, this is Aakaash. The position you are seeing on the screen is a position from a game played between Eduard Lasker and George Alan Thomas, which I have reviewed earlier. The link for that review is given below in the description. If you want, you can go to that review and see that game. I added this video to add some more small analysis. In this position, it is white to move. White is played by Eduard Lasker and black is played by George Alan Thomas. If you want, you can pause the video and find one move which forcefully checkmates the black king since it's white to move. You can pause the video. Well, what move came to your mind? Before showing the actual move, let me explore one option, which you would have probably thought, that is knight takes bishop, check. What this has done is, well, now the black king is under check. So when a king is under check, he has two options: either to move the king away from the check, or to take or to attack the defending piece, or the piece which gives the check. So here, if the king chooses to move to h8, which is the only square, because the king cannot go here because the knight on e5 is attacking the f7 square. So if king goes to h8, it is checkmate. Do you see it? Checkmate. Because the pawn cannot take this knight because this is pinned. The pawn cannot move because the queen is already attacking the black king. So this is out of the option. So the second thing is to remove the knight. Now, as we see, black has three options to remove this knight. It can either take this knight with the queen, or it can take with the rook, or it can take with the pawn. Let's see what happens if it takes with the knight. If queen takes knight, do you see the checkmate? Checkmate. If rook takes knight, do you see the checkmate? Into check. Where can the king go? The only square to go is f8, and checkmate. And the third option, which is to take with the pawn. What happens if pawn takes knight? Well, this move is the best move for black, and now the position is almost equal, believe it or not, because what black has done is, the pawn on g7 was blocking the black queen's attack on h7 square. Now since the pawn has moved from this square, the queen on e7 is attacking and defending the h7 square. So now even though the bishop and queen are eyeing on the h7 square, you have two defenders, which is the king and the queen. And also the knight on e5 is under attack. So white has not much of a choice but to move the knight to f3. And now theoretically the position is equal. Well, if you run it in an engine like Houdini or Aakaash, it will show white has a slight advantage because the pawn on d4 has much more space than any other black pieces. So slightly, maybe by 0.2 or 0.3, it might show a positive advantage for white. Now what's black's best move? Well, since black is underdeveloped, black would love to take the queens off the board, so he will offer to take the queen, and white can of course reject it, and the game will go on. So this is almost equal. So knight takes on f6 is not a prudent move. Let me tell you what Eduard Lasker played in the game. To those, even those who have seen the earlier video, you can choose to see this, because you can stay and see some two to three more variations which I realized later. So to the ones who are seeing for the first time, Eduard Lasker went for a queen sacrifice, a very meticulously calculated queen sacrifice. Now what can black king do? The only move for black king is to take the queen, because he can't go to f7 because of this knight. Same old story. He can't go to h8, of course, because the queen is already attacking. So king takes queen, and now knight takes bishop. This is a double attack. Bishop is checking the king as well as knight. It can't take because of course it's a discover attack, and The white king, the black king here can go to h8, but as we saw earlier, it becomes checkmate, so it's not possible. Can only go to h6. Check. The only square to go is to g5. And now in the game, Lasker played h4. Now let us see what happens if white chose to play f4. Now here, is it good for black? Well, it is pretty bad for black. The forced checkmate still exists no matter what black does. So it's not a check. Black king has two options. It can either go to h4 or it can take the pawn. Let us see what happens if it takes the pawn. If it takes the pawn, then g3, check. Then if the king can go back. If king goes to f3, there's a beautiful checkmate. Do you see it? White can castle, and it is checkmate. If it goes back, there still is a checkmate. Do you see it? Checkmate. Beautiful combination. So after playing f4, the king has another choice, which is to go to h4. Now, has the black king escaped? No. Check. And this is check. How can black prevent the check? Well, the bishop on b7 is the only way to defend the check. And now, do you see the checkmate? Ta-da-da-da-da, checkmate. No matter what black king does, it is going to get checkmated. And let me tell you the last line which was played in the game, which is after king goes to g5, Lasker played h4. Check. 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 And it's all over. Checkmate. What a beautiful game. This, we can see the power of knight because it has discontinuous control of squares. It is very difficult to play against two knights when the king is out, because the influence of knight is not continuous, as is the case for rook or queen or bishop. Knight for this knight controls this square, this square, this square. As you see, it is discrete, and when you have two knights, it becomes a pain in the neck to calculate and to escape, and it takes a genius to precisely calculate and trap the king using two knights. Well, of course, if you knew theoretically you can't checkmate a king using just two knights, you at least need one pawn extra to checkmate it. But with plenty of pieces on the board and with two knights dictating terms, the black king had no other choice but to succumb to the attack. And yeah, these were the extra stuffs which I left out in the earlier video, so I thought I'll make a new video. And that's it for now, I guess. I hope you enjoyed the video, and have a good day. Bye.